Hello there, I'm Kios, Ronin Beatmaker, and welcome to Ronin Art and Music, home to Ronin Music, Lounge Ronin, all things, everything, the Monday Mindset Rants, and Ronin Reviews. We strive to make holistic and authentic content that aims to improve your individuality, mental fortitude, and peace of mind. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love. Now, back to the show. What's good, y'all? It's your host, Kios, the Ronin Beatmaker, here with another episode of Lounge Ronin, all things, everything. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And on this episode, we're going to discuss Ohio kids can sit for lessons from Satanic Temple during school hours. Strap yourself in, guys. We're going to get a little philosophical on this one. Now, this article is from the New York Post. I highlighted all the hot spots so we can get right into it. It was written by Caitlin McCormack and it was published December 4th, 2024. All right. Ohio children can now spend part of their school day learning the teachings of Satanic Temple through the state's religious release program. The new off-campus lessons provide an alternative to Bible study that's offered through the religious release program and was prompted by the wishes of local parents, leaders of the Satanic Temple said. I would love to meet those parents. June Everett, an ordained minister with the Satanic Temple, told WCMH Channel 4 that parents were the ones to approach her with the idea to introduce Hail to their schools. You know, these have to be some left wing, like far left wing parents. Because if many of you are not aware, they're pretty much going to be beginning to teach the Bible. It's going to be mandatory in many southern states right now. So I'm wondering if this is a bit of a pushback to the idea of teaching the Bible in schools. More of a reason to homeschool your children. Shout out to Hotep Nation. They do a wonderful homeschooling program if that is something you're interested in. The request came as parents searched for an alternative to LifeWise Academy, an Ohio-based Christian program that takes participating students out of class for 55 minutes once a week to study the Bible. Leaders of LifeWise Academy, including CEO Joel Penton, said that Hale's program offerings are just further proof that the state legislature should pass proposed bill HB 445, which would provide greater clarity to the release time religious instruction programs. We believe all families should have the opportunity to choose religious study during school hours, and we trust parents to make the best choice for their children. This was a statement from WOSU, a religious organization. The proposed bill would make one alteration to the existing bill permitting the programs in the first place. It aims to strike the word may and replace it with shall, thus requiring all school districts to adopt the policy that allows students to leave school for religious instruction instead of it being optional. So there you have it. An interesting situation that's going on. I find this to be Well, to be honest with you, I think it's perfectly okay. If like, because if we're going to start allowing people to, if we're going to start allowing schools to have programs that are going to be teaching the Bible, which is perfectly fine by me, if parents want to opt out of it and have their kids study something else, that should be appropriate. I think about it in the fact that, in America, yes, this country tends to be more Christian in its ideology and performance. But we have to keep in mind we have a large Muslim community in America. We have a large Jewish community in America. Granted, they have their own schools, so they're already one step ahead of many other religious communities in America. The Amish have their own schools and churches. And I'm sure that in the Amish, their education is connected with their Bible. So I don't think there's anything wrong with this. I think it's kind of funny and a bit ironic that the Satanic Temple uh, is the one to be heading up an alternative um, program for those who don't want to do Christianity. I'm trying to remember, I think somewhere in the article. Okay, yeah, perfect. The eyebrow raising satanic program is not affiliated with or approved by the local school district or board members, and its teachings are far from the red horned on the Lord its name brings to mind. Hail is intended to strengthen students' critical thinking, good works in the community, compassion and empathy, self directed learning, and creative expression, according to the flyer. We are not devil worshippers. Different satanics across the United States will give you different answers depending on how they personally believe, Everett told WOSU. But as a whole, we are non-theistic, meaning we don't believe in any supernatural deities, and that includes, God or Satan. So I don't know why they call themselves the Satan Temple if they don't believe in Satan. So that's up for anyone's interpretation and decision making on what they feel that means. But I just think it's kind of funny the idea of Satan going around and doing, like nonprofit, you know, fundraising events and teaching people critical thinking. I mean, isn't that what kind of got him in trouble in the first place? So it's kind of, I don't know what their intentions are. Let's see. So according here, um, Satan, or aka Lucifer, he betrayed God he rebelled against God out of pride, desiring to be equal to God himself and wanting to be worshipped instead of worshiping God. So, I mean, I don't know why they're still kind of going with that name and then saying that they're like, we're all about critical thinking. It's a weird thing that they're doing. So I think the problem that most people are having is that their name is, the Satanic Temple. I don't know why they don't want to, maybe do some marketing changes. However, we don't know. Perhaps this organization, this Satanic Temple, actually does some really good stuff in the community in Ohio. That could be the case. We don't really know. Um, so I'm just trying to be being open minded at the fact that perhaps this organization and this church themselves may actually be a pretty good community based um, program. It's just something to keep in mind. So I don't, I don't want people to jump to the conclusion because just because they're called the Satanic Temple, I don't, they're out here doing, nonprofit, work for the community, and they're teaching critical thinking. I guess, that could get you in trouble with God, depending on, which um, Catholicism that you believe in. Because, if this was during the Spanish Inquisition or the medieval times, if you were a critical thinking person in Europe, you'd have your head lopped off. So there is that interesting dynamic there that you can kind of think about this in the sense of like how in their idea of the Bible and many Catholic divisions, there is this sense of that their word is sound and there is nothing that goes against it. And if you were to question their word or question your local priest or your pastor or your bishop, you could be deemed as a heretic. You could be deemed as speaking blasphemy within your own community. You could end up being ostracized in your own community just for, in their minds, thinking like the devil, questioning things. And perhaps maybe that is the case, with in terms of Satan. Perhaps he was questioning God's rule. You and because of, having such questions induced pride and ego. You never know. And God wasn't having it. So then, the question you'd have to ask yourself is, well, was God in the wrong for damning a man for questioning him? I, I don't know. I'd let you guys have that kind of conversation. But in my mind, when it comes to this temple, to this school thing, what if it's a Buddhist community? What if they want to have an alternative for kids who are Buddhists? What if it's these are things just to think about. What if the chances are that they're in a community and there isn't a mosque nearby, or there is, and it's down south. Let's say it's in South Carolina. There's like a small mosque, and there is a decent amount of Muslim kids in this school. They don't want to learn the Bible. Maybe they want to go to the mosque, and maybe there are other kids who are interested in learning. And I'm just saying, like, if we're gonna like be this country of freedom of religion, freedom of you know of ideology, freedom of speech, and we have to allow the ability to allow other religions then to be practiced or allowed within these schools. If you're gonna send your kid to a government school, fine. If the parents there are practicing Muslims, they should have the ability to opt their child out of the Bible study and let them go to the mosque or to a Muslim study group at the school. And then I also think, other kids should be allowed to go to those groups if they want to. I mean, what this is freedom, right? We're talking about freedom, right? We're talking about individuality. And if schools don't want to do that, fine. That's up to them. But this is where it gets messy because then all it takes is like one state in one county, one school district banning, a Muslim, religious group. And then the next thing you know, it's going to the Supreme Court. And then the next thing you know, you're getting a federal policy. So these are things that we have to keep in mind when it comes to this situation. When it comes to the idea of allowing a temple, the Satanic Temple, to do programs during school hours. Like it to me, it's like when this story gets like massive news and like the woke right get some, grab wind of this, how are they going to react to it? Because they say they're totally for freedom of speech and freedom of religion. But whoa, 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 whoa. The last thing we need is a satanic school, satanic programs being taught at the school. You're okay with them doing Christian. What's the problem? What's the problem if it's Islam? What's the problem if it's Jehovah Witnesses? Is there really truly an issue with it? Or is it that you only prefer freedom of religion on your terms? Because if that's the case, then, damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? So I really hope that people really take some time and just think about that and reflect on how that can affect us as individuals if this situation ends up getting taken up to the Supreme Court. It could further divide Americans in terms of their religious viewpoints and further inflame, anti-religious rhetoric for various different religions, especially with what everything is going on in the world right now, in the Middle East, or in the East with Russia and their Orthodox Christianity. There don't be no mistaken. There is a war on Orthodox Christianity going on as well right now, but no one's going to talk about that. What about in Syria? You really think the Christians and the Jews that live in Syria are going to be safe now under the rule of a CIA-backed and funded terrorist organization that now runs the country? You tell me. But hey, our government has no problem instilling Muslim terrorist organizations that completely go against the Quran. But at the same time, they will arrest and raid Christian pastors and supporters when they stand outside abortion clinics and pray. Yeah. America's belief and advocacy for religion is a little backwards. And I hope that we can eventually do some reflection and clear that up. If not, it's just going to keep on getting messier and messier. But I highly recommend people to just do some reflection on what it means to you to have the ability to practice religions in schools. What does it mean for any of us? Please leave some comments down below. Let's get a conversation started. And while you're at it, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Lounge Ronin. All things, everything. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And until next time, stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love. And God damn it, my voice is so fucked up right now.